Now in this video, I'm going to be telling you guys why I believe altcoin season is here. From macro analysis, this is telling me that investors are looking to go out the risk curve, which means allocating into more riskier assets, one of which are going to be altcoins. Now I actually presented this analysis a couple of weeks ago to the Mango Dashboard Premium members. However, I believe this is one of those analysis pieces that's going to be very important for the next 6 months, and that's why I've decided to make this one public. But at the very least, you guys are going to get a good glimpse of what kind of content you can get in the premium video section, along with, of course, trade setups that we find on various altcoins out there. So I'll be playing this analysis with this. Sit back and enjoy. And what's cracking, guys? Welcome to this Mango Dashboard Premium video. Today we're going to be talking about the next altcoin season. Now I found this historic fractal with honestly 100% hit rate. And I believe that altcoin seasons, guys, you need one ingredient for this, okay? And that ingredient is that people, right, retailers especially, they should have this need of feeling rewarded when they go far out the risk curve. Okay, let's just say this is the risk line, okay? This side of the line is risk off. This side of the line is risk on. Over the past 2 years, people were actually rewarded for going risk off because, well, your general yield, okay, the government bonds were giving you, what, 5-6% depending on where you were. But now those yields are going down, okay, it's all going down. So now people are like, well, I'm not being rewarded for going risk off anymore. Now I got to go risk on to make money. And now with interest rates going down, people are going to start leaning more towards risk on to get a good yield for their investment. So I believe we're heading into this environment right now, given, of course, that war does not escalate. Well, here is the historic fractal that I found. Now, I did present this to the Mango seedlings in the Seed Mastermind call that happens every Thursday. If you are not in the Seed program and you want to join, you'll find it on the mangoway.com/seed. Also jump into the Discord chat and speak to the seedlings to see if this program is a good fit for you. Now here's what I found. In one of the daily videos, I gave you guys the two major events that take place once every 4 years. And these two events are none other than the Bitcoin halving event and the US presidential election. Now what I've done on my chart is that I've gone ahead and marked out every single halving as well as every single US election over the past, well, since 2012, because that's as much data as I have on my chart. Now on our first data point, the halving in the US election actually happened on the same month of November. The second data point, basically 2016, was that next Bitcoin halving as well as the next US presidential election. Bitcoin halving happened in July and the US presidential election happened in November. The third halving happened on May, and of course the US election happened on November. This is 2020. And the fourth one, well, is happening right now. So the fourth halving has already happened, which took place in April. And as we all know, the US presidential election happens next month. It's going to be a very exciting next 31 days. Now, the primary observation that I've made so far is that, well, between the two events, between the halving and the US presidential election, price is often consolidated. Price only rallies, at the very least, Bitcoin's price only rallies after the US presidential election, getting into its next markup phase and often the final markup phase. Okay, however, we do have one outlier over here, which is 2012, but getting out of the election phase, the markup on that was a good 7,571% on that move. Okay, so that was that bull market. How about the 2016, getting out of the US presidential election? What was that move? That was a good 2,426% to the upside, okay? How about 2020? Now remember, 2020, we had a bit of an outlier event, which was COVID, right? But still, we still saw a market phase right here. And you can see just how well this has worked historically. Every time price emerges out of that election phase, okay, that's when we actually see that next markup phase in price action, often the last markup phase. Now in the 2021 markup, that was a good 360% on that rally. Now this is the fourth halving in US presidential election that we're seeing so far, okay? So now once again, between the halving event and the US election, we're seeing a bit of a consolidation in this range. Now it's after the US election do we actually see that rally, but you can see just how good the hit rate is on this historic fractal, right? Every time we emerge out of the election phase, that's when we see the next markup in price action. Now, okay, this is just Bitcoin. We're not here to talk about Bitcoin. We're here to talk about the alt season. But now with this hinge, we can figure out how did Bitcoin fare relative to the altcoins during these phases of the market, okay? When Bitcoin got out of the election phase and rallied, Did Bitcoin rally hard or did the altcoins rally hard? Because that's going to give us an idea of when the alt seasons took place in each one of these phases in 2013, in 2017, and in 2021. What I'm trying to find out here is getting out of the election. Yeah, we know Bitcoin rallies, but do the altcoins rally harder than Bitcoin in those phases? Well, to get an idea of that, the chart that we can look at is the Bitcoin dominance chart. Now, the Bitcoin dominance is a fairly easy picture to read. What Bitcoin dominance really tells you is that, well, what is the more dominant coin right now in the market? Is it Bitcoin or is it the altcoins? All right, right now, Bitcoin is taking up 58% of the total crypto market cap, and the altcoins are only taking up 42%. However, if Bitcoin dominance starts falling from here, what this is essentially going to tell us is that the altcoins are faring better than Bitcoin. However, on the other side, if Bitcoin dominance actually starts rallying from here, this should be BTC and not BCT. Apologies. Okay, if Bitcoin dominance starts rallying from here, what this is telling us that, hey, Bitcoin is actually the better hodl for now. But now what I want to figure out is that, well, we know that, okay, when Bitcoin emerges out of the US election, it sees this rally, but what are the altcoins doing during these phases? Because if Bitcoin dominance is falling, we know that, hey, the altcoins, while Bitcoin is rallying, the altcoins are rallying even harder. Okay, so now in this phase right here, from November all the way to the top of the market, which topped out in Jan of 2018, notice what Bitcoin dominance did. Bitcoin dominance tanked. Okay, and that was the most insane altcoin season I've ever seen in my entire life. I used to get up every day to minimum 2x on the alts. It was insane. Now, yeah, I was getting up to 2x gains on a daily basis, but the issue in that bull market is that I actually didn't know how to keep any of the profits. So I ended up giving a lot back to the market during the bear market phase, and this is where Sean sat me down and taught me how to trade. I was actually student zero of the seed program. So yeah, but this is to say, coming back, that was a tangent, but coming back to this, you'll find that Bitcoin dominance actually tanked during this entire phase right here, okay, while Bitcoin was rallying. So now what is this telling us? If Bitcoin's dominance is falling, the alts are performing better than Bitcoin in that phase, okay? So this right here was alt season, getting out of that US election. All right, so now we have that one data point. But now what happened during the next election of 2020? Getting out of the election, we know that, okay, Bitcoin rallied from around $15,000 all the way up to $60,000. However, what did Bitcoin dominance do? Well, Bitcoin dominance, guys, in the month of Jan, actually, so Bitcoin did rally a good 2 months before the alts actually took over. Okay, in Jan, that's when the altcoin season started in earnest, because in Jan, check out what happened. Bitcoin dominance tanked, essentially telling us that from Jan all the way to the summer of that year, the alts performed much better than Bitcoin. That was the alt season of that market. But now it's just looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart enough information to actually tell us that, hey, this was alt season right here and this was alt season right here? No, it's not. Let's actually go ahead and dive a little deeper into this chart. We've dissected Bitcoin. We know that Bitcoin was rallying during this phase right here and this phase right here. Okay, we know Bitcoin dominance was also tanking during these phases right here, but now what were the altcoins doing? Now, to get a good gauge on the altcoins, let's check out crypto's total market cap excluding the top 10 coins. Okay, so now once again, I've gone ahead. Every white line represents the US presidential election. All right, so now once again, I want you guys to look at the top chart. Now, every vertical line once again represents the US presidential election. Now, we know that Bitcoin rallied, okay, getting out of that on both instances. We know that Bitcoin dominance dumped in those both instances. Now, let's find out if the altcoins were in fact pumping in those instances as well. Well, check this out. Emerging out of the November US election, what did the altcoin market cap do? And this is not just any ordinary altcoin market cap. This is altcoins excluding the top 10, so no blue chips in there. Okay, excluding the top 10, what did those coins do? Well, they freaking rallied, and they rallied really hard. That market cap rose by a good, what was this? 34,233% during the 2017 altcoin season. All right, how about the next one right here? This was the 2020 rally, okay, getting out of the US presidential election. The altcoins excluding the blue chips rallied a good what? What was this? This was a good 1,138%. Okay, now once again, guys, we're getting into that phase of the market where we're getting into the US presidential election, okay? And Bitcoin dominance is heading into resistance. Now, if I'm being completely unbiased on resistance, I'm saying resistance actually comes in right here, okay? 64% on the Bitcoin dominance resistance. Yeah, Bitcoin dominance can still go up before it finds resistance, and then the altcoins take over in earnest. And that's when we're going to start seeing altcoin season. But once again, notice it all just lined up after that election month of November. All right, this is to say, guys, that I do believe, just historically, if I'm looking at all the historic fractals, of course, everything else remaining status quo, that means no war escalations at the very least. I'm saying that we're likely heading into a more risk-on environment, which could sort of push people to go far out the risk curve. Okay, which means more altcoins. And when we start seeing that, that's when we can actually look for that next rally. Now, historically, it's always lined up getting out of the election month. So once again, I'll be looking at these three charts with a very, very keen eye, because this is going to tip us off on the next altcoin season. But if we're just looking at this historically, what this is telling me is that it's likely right around the corner. This is to say, now is the time to lock in. Okay, lock in right now. It's likely going to set you up for the cycles, the next bear market, the next bull market, and the bear market after that. Okay, play this right, lock in right now, and you're going to reap the rewards of this market. Now, before I sign out, I just want to let you guys know that Sean's birthday sale is live, applicable on all courses as well as indicators. The code is BDate2024. So for those of you who are looking to jump into the Seed program or the Sprouts program, now's the time. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. With this, trade safely, trade stress-free, trade the mango way, trade the easy way. Ciao, you guys.